Part 2, Jesus and Passover, the story continues. Event 1. Joseph's story as recorded in Genesis 37:50. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, symbolizing death, sold into slavery, falsely imprisoned, and presumed dead by his family. He later rose to power in Egypt, saving his family from famine. Parallel to Jesus. Like Joseph, Jesus was betrayed by Judas, suffered unjustly, descended into death, and was exalted by God. Philippians 2:5-11. Joseph's forgiveness and provision for his betrayers mirror Jesus' redemptive work. It's a story of death-like lows, leading to resurrection-like triumph. Event 2. The Exodus from Egypt noted in Exodus 1:15. The Israelites were enslaved, faced death, drowning in the Red Sea, but God parted the waters for their deliverance, leading them to new life in the Promised Land. Parallel to Jesus. This foreshadows spiritual deliverance. Jesus' death and resurrection provide an exodus from sin and death, as recorded in Luke 9:31, uses Exodus for Jesus' death. Paul compares baptism to passing through the Red Sea. 1 Corinthians 10:1-4, symbolizing dying to the old life and rising to the new events, Part 3. Other resurrection miracles in the Bible. While not direct parallels, Jesus performed resurrections that foreshadow his own, demonstrating his authority over death. Events under the subject of other resurrection miracles in the Bible. While not direct parallels, Jesus performed resurrections that foreshadow his own, demonstrating his authority over death. Event 3. Lazarus in John 11, Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead after 4 days in the tomb, commanding him to come out. Parallel to Jesus. This miracle points to Jesus as the resurrection and the life, John 11:25. It occurred shortly before his own death, building anticipation for his resurrection, which was even greater, self-resurrected by God's power, per Romans 1:4. Event 4. Other raisings. Jesus revived the widow's son in Luke 7:11-17 and Jairus' daughter in Mark 5:21-43. In the Old Testament, prophets like Elijah in 1 Kings 17:17-24 and Elisha in 2 Kings 4:18-7 raised the dead. Parallel to Jesus. These show God's power over death but are temporary. The people died again. Jesus' resurrection is permanent and transformative, defeating death for all believers in 1 Corinthians 15:20-23. Paul calls him the first fruits of resurrection. There are also thematic or theological parallels in the Bible. Event 5. Adam and the Fall, noted in Genesis 3 and Romans 5:12-21. Adam's sin brought death into the world. Jesus, as the second Adam, brings life through his resurrection, reversing the curse noted in 1 Corinthians 15:21-22 and 45-49. Event 6. Prophetic foreshadowing. Psalms like Psalm 22, which describes suffering like crucifixion, and Isaiah 53 portrays the suffering servant who is pierced for our transgressions and raised to life. Both are seen as direct prophecies fulfilled in Jesus. There is an overall biblical arc. The pattern of death leading to new life recurs, for example, the flood in Genesis 6-9, as a death of the old world and rebirth. Jesus' events are the climax, fulfilling the Old Testament as noted in Matthew 5:17, and pointing to the future resurrection of all believers foretold in 1 Thessalonians 4:16-17. These parallels in symbolism underscores the Bible's unity. The Old Testament points forward to Christ, and the New Testament looks back to him as the fulfillment. As Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15:3-4, Christ's death and resurrection. Bless all who watch this video. Please like and subscribe.